caught yourself daydreaming about quitting your job years before everyone else? Trust me, guys, you're not the only one. But here's the big question. Is retiring early just a fantasy for the lucky few? Or can regular people like us actually pull it off? Because I used to think that I'll be grinding away until my 60s, and then I realized that there are real strategies out there that can help you exit the workforce way earlier than that. So if you ever picture yourself sipping on coffee at 10 a.m. in the morning on a Wednesday without a single care in the world, keep watching, because we're diving into the 5-step process of how to retire as early as possible without sacrificing your quality of life. Let's get into it. Number 1, define your early retirement number. Let's start things off with defining your early retirement number. Basically, that's the amount of money you need to live comfortably without a steady paycheck. And it might sound a little bit intimidating, but guys, it's not rocket science. Start by looking at your monthly expenses, everything from rent, groceries, and that weekly coffee habit of yours, and figure out what your ideal life will cost you per month. Then multiply that number by 12 to get your annual total. Now, if you've heard of the 4% rules, you might know some people multiply their yearly expenses by 25 to find this ballpark number for their retirement saving. In other words, if your annual expense, say, is about $40,000 a year, right? You may want to aim for about $1 million in investment. And this isn't a hard and fast rules, but it's a solid starting point to get a sense of how much you might need. And this is very important, by the way, because if you don't know your target, you'll never know if you're hitting it. And I remember when I first tried figuring out my retirement number, I realized I was guessing widely, like I probably need $1 million or $2 million. But that uncertainty made it super hard to plan. And once I actually crunched the numbers and saw, okay, maybe I need this amount of money by this amount of age, everything else, my budget, investment, and side hustles started to click into place. And the cool part is, guys, you can also tweak this number as your lifestyle or goal changes. Maybe you decide you want to retire in a cheaper city, or you fall in love with the idea of buying a piece of land and living off the grid. Whatever it is, having a defined target means you can measure your progress, celebrate your milestone, and also adjust your plan along the way. Number 2, cut the fat, trimming expenses wisely. Now that you got your early retirement numbers in mind, let's look at trimming expenses without turning into a full penny pincher. Think of it more like cutting out the stuff that doesn't actually add value into your life. You know that one friend who's keep looking down on you, who doesn't believe in your dreams? Yeah, that's how you need to cut it off, because when I started my journey, I realized that I was subscribed to about 5 streaming platforms, half of which I barely watch, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Random food delivery here, and a dusty gym membership, and when you really think about it, it all starts to add up. But here's the trick. Go line by line through your monthly bills and see what you can reduce or eliminate. You'll be very surprised on how many automatic payments you've forgotten about. And I'm not saying never eat out or cancel every subscription. That makes no sense. But it's about figuring out which expenses truly matters and which one are more like habitual. If you love watching new shows, keep that Netflix subscriptions. But if you can't remember the last time you put on Hulu, maybe it's time to let it go. And one of the biggest game changer for me was meal prepping. I'm not a master chef or anything, I can barely cook. But dedicating a couple hours on Sundays saved me a boatload of time and money during the week. Plus, I found myself actually enjoying lunch because it was something I prepare instead of just choking myself down on a soggy takeout salad. The cool part is this. All those small changes can supercharge your saving rate. And every dollar you don't spend is a dollar you can invest into your future. So if you're really thinking about it, each subscription you cancel or expenses you slash is basically handing yourself more freedom years down the line. Trimming expenses is great, but there's only so much you can cut before you find yourself eating rice and beans for every meal. And that doesn't sound like a fun retirement. And this is where maximizing your income and also stacking up your skills come into play. The idea is to widen the gap between what you make and what you spend. So like that, you can start investing more aggressively and hit that retirement goal faster. Let's say, for example, right, you're a graphic designer during the day. Adding another skill like web development lets you offer the full package service, which in turn means that you can start charging a higher rate. Or maybe you're good at cooking and you decide to start a small catering business on the weekend. The point I'm trying to make is this. Find a way to increase your earning potentials so you're not relying on just one paycheck. I remember when I first tried freelancing work alongside my 9 to 5. It felt like a lot at first, but once I found a rhythm, that extra income started flowing in. And the thing is, every extra dollar I earned went straight into investing or paying down debt, bringing my early retirement goal even closer. Plus, stacking up on skills kept things a little bit more interesting, and learning new stuff made me even more marketable. Kind of gave me this safety net and just in case that my main job decided to go south. So if you don't know where to start, think about a hobby or areas that you're really good at and ask yourself, is there a way I can monetize them without burning myself out? Maybe it's tutoring or consulting or even selling a digital product online. The beautiful thing about having multiple streams of income is that it speeds up the progress and reduces risk. If one stream dries up, you have multiple other ones lined up. And that's what real financial resilience looks like. Number 4, invest for growth, not just for saving. So you've got your numbers in mind, you trim the excesses, and you boost your income. So what's next? Again, invest for growth. It's not just enough to stash cash under a mattress or even in a saving account if you're aiming for early retirement. Okay, fine, you need an emergency fund, that's cool. But once that's sorted, every extra dollar should be working to multiply itself. I used to be the type to be so happy just piling up money in a saving account, thinking at least I'm not spending it, right? But then I realized I was basically losing money to inflation each year. And that's when I started looking into things like index fund, ETF, and even checking out some real estate. The idea is simple. Spread your risk around. If you invest in just one stock and it tank, you're dead. But if you pick a broad basket like an index fund that's tracking the S&P 500, you're less tied to the performance of a single company. And another thing a lot of people often overlook is compound interest. Like I always say, it's like a snowball rolling down the hill. The longer it rolls, the bigger it gets. And it picks up speeds along the way. Start investing early, even if it's just a little bit, and let those return in their own return. Over time, it can seriously accelerate how fast your wealth grows. And one more thing, guys, I know like investing can be very scary, especially if you've never done it before. This is not financial advice, by the way, but personally, I like to keep things simple. Focus on steady long-term gains rather than trying to pick up the next crypto hype or trying to day trade yourself into fortune. The more consistent you are, the faster you'll hit that early retirement date. Number 5, sustaining your lifestyle and purpose post-retirement. So you've done the math, trim the fat, stack your skills, and invest like your future depends on it. Congrats. You're on the fast track to early retirement. But here's the thing. What happened after you actually retired? A lot of people forget to plan for life beyond the finish line. They focus so much on investing and saving that they never ask themselves, what am I retiring to? The thing you need to understand is retiring early isn't just about walking away from a job that you don't like. It's about designing a lifestyle that keeps you engaged and fulfilling when you're no longer punching on that clock. Maybe that means traveling the world, picking up a creative hobby, volunteering, or even working part-time with something you're passionate about. The idea is having a vision of how you'll be spending your newborn freedom. And I've seen people hit their magic number, quit their job, only to feel lost and bored a few months later. And the truth is, we're not built to do nothing 24/7. Having a sense of purpose, whether it's learning a new skills, building relationship, or contributing to a cause, help you stay motivated and excited about life after that 9 to 5. And also, don't forget about financial flexibility either, because even in retirement, expenses can pop up unexpectedly. Maybe you decide to move to a new city, or you discover a more expensive new hobby. Having a cushion or a small side hustle can save you from dipping back into your saving. In other words, keep a little side hustle into your life, but make it in your own terms. And anyway, guys, that's it for today's video. If you find there's any sort of value in this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and push the notification button for more on sustainable fashion and personal finance. And I'll see you guys on my next video.